What's up YouTube? How are you doing today? Chana D, your Techno Dad here, and in today's video we're going to be reviewing the Onkyo TX-NR676. It's a budget AV receiver that handles Dolby Atmos and DTS:X. And we're going to get into it right after the jump. And I'm back. Now if you're new to the channel and you want to learn about 4K, home theater, and audio products and how to set them up properly, you should consider subscribing because I'm here to help. And don't forget to hit that bell so you get notified when I do a live stream and answer your questions or when the next video gets released. Well, now that housekeeping's out of the way, let's get into it. So we're talking about the Onkyo TX-NR676. Now this is a budget range AV receiver that I believe listed for about $500. I picked it up a few months ago for $349, and now it's down to like $299 on Amazon. So I'll put links down in the description for sure so you guys can check that out. Now since I've had it, the newer version, the 686, has been released, and I'm pretty sure it's at $599, and I think the main difference is that it provides, or it has, THX certification. So if that's something that's important to you, definitely check out the 686. Links down in the description. So first things first, we're going to get into a little bit of setup. You definitely have to know that with the setup microphone for the Onkyo, again, you got to plug it in for it to enter the speaker calibration menu. And once we go from there, it was actually pretty standard, you know, test tones being fired at you. You also want to make sure everything's nice and quiet. But once it runs through all that, it gives you like a little profile. Now one thing that disturbed me was that it had set the main speakers to full band, and I'm still using the SVS 5.1 Prime satellite speakers for this review, so I was kind of confused by this because it didn't let me select it. So after a bunch of moving around, like I went to speaker configuration and it went from 5.1.2, took that all the way down to like 2.1 and then brought it back up to 5.1.2, and then I went back into crossovers and there it was. I was able to change it and I set it to 80. Now this is kind of weird and not sure if it was a bug or something that always happens, but that was my workaround. Now Onkyo uses a system called AccuEQ. So let's see how well it did on measuring the distances from the main listening position where the microphone was to the individual speakers. So it looks like we're varying about half a foot on these measurements. Surround left was right on, surround right was just about there. Now this kind of thing happens, and that's why I always recommend to get a laser measure so you can actually measure from the main listening position. Each and every one of your speakers, you just point it at the speaker and you hit measure, and you see the little dot there and it'll ding, give you the measurement. I'll put a link down in the description to the one I got from Amazon. It's cheap, it's about 30 bucks or whatever. Anyway, I went back in and changed the distances and made sure the volumes or the levels weren't boosted up too high. Everything was pretty flat and on par, meaning the levels weren't up or down. The level on the subwoofer I cranked just a couple notches because, hey, just like my t-shirt says, if you can see it, it says we need more, and it says bass down here. So if you can't see it, sorry, I know. Alright, so one of the biggest things about these new AV receivers is that you want to know about Hdr Pass Through. So I have confirmed that this Onkyo can support 3 formats of HDR. HDR10, Dolby Vision, and HLG. So this AVR will pass through all those HDR signals to your TV. For Dolby Vision, I used the Valerian 4K Ultra High Definition disc and the Oppo UDP-203 and got the Dolby Vision logo in the upper right hand corner. For testing HDR10, I used the 4K UHD disc of John Wick 2, and it's great and it works, and we get the HDR logo when John Wick comes on. So next, I had to test out HLG support. So to do this, I used the YouTube app in the LG UBK90 as it supports HLG. I went to the HDR channel and ran my favorite demo. It happens to be a TCL demo, and there you go. We don't get an HLG logo in the upper right hand corner because it is just a standard format of HDR, so we just get the standard looking HDR symbol. So it's really cool to know that an AVR at this price point will actually support those 3 formats of HDR. Pretty cool. Alright, let's move on. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is music playback. Now, with most of these receivers, you do get a lot of streaming options. And the best way to navigate all that is to download the app. So I downloaded the Onkyo Controller App, and I gotta say, I think this one might be a little bit better than Yamaha's. In the app, I believe Tidal and Pandora are native to the app. Meaning, in the Yamaha app, we actually had to open up the apps in the background and then use the Yamaha Controller App to make those work. Now the same thing happens with both companies in regards to Spotify. You do have to go to your iPad, in my case iPad, open up Spotify, and then it'll link back into the Onkyo Controller App. So a little bit of weird functionality with Spotify, but that seems to be the norm. However, Tidal and Pandora worked just fine natively in the Onkyo Controller App. And I gotta say, pretty cool app. Really robust and very easy to control the AV receiver with the app. And when you're listening to music, you don't want to turn on your TV to see the display. I mean, I played Michael Jackson FLAC from thumb drive and it worked fine. And here's what the display looks like. So you can actually see what's on the front, but it's a little too small. And if your AV receiver is on the other side of the room, you're not gonna see what song it is, although you should be knowing what song it is. You're playing it for anyway. I like the app. It's great. It works well on an iPad. I didn't really try it on my phone because I know that it's just going to be a better experience on the iPad. So if you do pick up this AVR, definitely check out the Onkyo Controller App. I say it's great. I went through a whole bunch of different files and they all worked great. FLAC, DSD, native support. It works on this low end of an AVR and that kind of blows my mind. And hey, thumbs up Onkyo, good job on that. And so how does it sound? Well, with these budget AV receivers, power is, kind of the issue. So getting over the fact that I have to turn the volume pretty much 70%, 75% to get a good sound, when I was there, it sounded great. Okay, completely room filling sound. And if you guys seen my other video, my living room is like this open floor plan nonsense. Vaulted ceiling, slanty ceiling thingamajig. So I've got about 3,800 cubic feet, I think is what I measured from the other video that I made. So it is a big room and it's kind of hard to get a lot of sound. So it was great that, we had to jack it up a little bit, but that kind of goes with the price point of this AV receiver. So, if you're looking in this budget range, just know that they're not gonna have too much power. Even in a 2-channel listening environment, you do have to jack it up quite a bit, the volume that is, jacking up the volume, okay? So that's like the one kind of thing about it, but hey, for under $300, this thing's got a lot of great features. All right, so let's get into the pros and cons. Biggest pro, phono stage. Not too many AV receivers at this price point have a phono stage, so that is pretty awesome. Okay, for you vinyl lovers out there, I know vinyl's making a huge comeback, and even Best Buy started getting rid of all their CDs and they're gonna bring in vinyl. So very interesting twist of events here, huh? Now another big pro is the quick menu. So when you're watching TV or watching a movie or whatever, you press the menu button and a little menu pops up. And here you can change the bass and the treble really quickly. You can change other things like the volume of the center channel, the level of the subwoofer, and something really cool, you can go in and change the AV sync. So if you're having some AV sync issues, you can go in and change it really quickly. So big pro right there is that little quick menu, so you don't have to do all kinds of menu diving just to change the bass, just to turn it down a little bit or turn it up because we need more bass, right? And of course, the third big pro is the Onkyo Controller App. Like I said before, I recommend using this with an iPad. So if you have a big or a bigger tablet laying around, something bigger than an iPhone or whatever your smartphone is, using that for the app. Now I have this real weird quirk, I guess it's called, maybe, is it? I don't know. I feel like my phone should just be left for phone and social media and stuff like that. I don't want my phone to control listening stereo kind of thing. So that's why I go with the iPad. Leave the phone in my pocket or whatever. But you can do whatever you like. I believe you can download the app for your phone as well. All right, so cons. Biggest con that I can see really is just the low-ish power output. have to jack up the volume to 70-75% to get the desired volume level in my space. Remember, my space is 3,800 cubic feet. It's pretty large, okay? I think I measured 23 feet one direction, 17 feet the other direction. One side of the roof is at 8 feet, the other side is at 14, so it kind of like is a big, it's like a triangle, right? So that's pretty much the situation. I have a big room, so in a smaller space, that probably wouldn't be too big of a problem. And if you're, just jumping into this home theater thing or ditching the soundbar and wanting to go with a small Atmos system that's a full-fledged home theater, then this could be a good option for you. So just keep that in mind. Actually, that's what we're talking about now. Who is this good for? This is a great option for anyone that's looking to jump into home theater at a small budget. If you pair this $300 AV receiver with like a $400 Focal setup, I'll put a link down in the description for that. That's a nice, small, compact little system. You'll be at $700 and leave, a couple $100 for cables and stuff like that, because you're definitely going to need that, and like maybe speaker stands as well, especially if you're going with small satellite speakers. And if you were to go with the SVS Prime Satellite 5.1 setup, which is $999, add this to it, you're at $1,300, maybe $1,500 with cables and speaker stands. So this is a good AVR if you're just getting into home theater and you want to ditch the soundbar and get something a little bit more robust, where you can plug in a turntable, where you can actually have like some good room-filling sound, because we all know TVs these days, their sound sucks. I mean, at $300, how can you really go wrong? Well guys, that's pretty much it for this review of the TX-NR676. As always, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, or use whatever social media you like to use the most to contact me there, or shoot me an email, whatever you like to do. I'm here to help you out. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked it, go ahead and smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel using the button in the middle of your screen. Once again, my name is Chana D. I'm your Techno Dad, and I'll see you next time.